So let's go with the next game. This is going to be our first semifinals. Let's see who we get. Alright, so it's going to be Remag as the red Protoss at the bottom left location on Neo Jade, and his opponent I feel Cryoc as the orange Terran at the top right. I have to say though, why do they have, like, there should be something that makes sure that there is no like orange red or orange yellow. All these kind of like they look really similar for people like me who are kind of colorblind, so it would have been much better if they kind of changed that, but okay. Anyway, so far the result is 0-0 for these two players, and the first game is going to be on Neo Jade. Now, this is going to be a PvT. One of my favorite matchups is actually PvT. I believe it's a relatively easy matchup to play for Protoss. It allows, I would say, a little bit more. For a slower player, is actually a little bit easier, since usually you want to make one good fight, and you don't usually constantly keep fighting against the Terran army. So definitely, we could say that it's a matchup that is a little bit light on the mechanics compared to others. It's not that it's easy, but it's a bit easier maybe on the mechanics. Now, let's see exactly what both players will do, because depending on the early beginning of the game is kind of who will set the gameplay. Now, as far as I know, Cryoc doesn't really like aggressive openings. He's more of a kind of a 2 base into 3 base turtle Terran until he gets about 160 to 170 supply and pushes out. If I remember correctly, that's how he used to play back in a few months back. I don't know if he's changed it up a little, but definitely if Remag knows that, then he could use that information into his advantage. Okay, so the scout will get there. Yes, we do have 2 Germans up there in the semifinals, so it's pretty good for them, pretty good for Germany today. Now, the probe will try to be a little bit annoying, but once the barracks is finished, really the probe doesn't get that much done. The most annoying moment really is right when the barracks is kind of being built, because that kind of slows down everything else. Once that's done, yeah, the probe can be a little bit annoying, but usually not enough. Unless it's Bisu probe, then probably yeah. Okay, so we do see a core with no zealot. Why is that? Well, the distance is kind of long. A zealot will probably arrive way too late to actually do any damage, so I understand that Remag probably doesn't want to really do anything about that. It's kind of no reason to start with that. The next the next thing is going to be range. Now, again, cross map positions, going for any kind of tech, say for example Dark Templars, they're gonna arrive a little bit later, so most of the time going tech is probably not the best way. Now, 1 gate Dragoon into an expansion is a little bit risky, because there's a few reasons for that, but the main one you really want to do, the main thing that you really want to kind of look at is, since you're making Dragoons from only 1 gateway, obviously you're going to be light on the units, but you really don't want to keep the Dragoon kind of at home. You do want to be relatively here to keep an eye on the Terran army if it's going to move out. The probe is okay for that, but it does have very little health, so it's kind of easy to get it killed. So at this point, the question really becomes, what do we see done with the Dragoons? Are they trying to be aggressive? Are they trying to just look around? So far, I think they're just looking for this SCV. 1 gate Robo with range. Okay, this can still be an economic build. You can go for obs of 1 gateway, and then when you actually see that the Terran is, for example, expanding, you could double expand yourself. It's not really that bad, since you will actually have a lot of information about your opponent. Now, the SCV will scout that there is no expansion, but it doesn't get into the base, so at this point I would assume that Cryoc is going to be a little paranoid. He is going to be thinking about a possibility of this being some kind of a tech choice, so I don't know if he's going to be wanting to push out. Well, okay. So, seems like remag doesn't want to go for the economical game. He's getting shuttle and reaver in the second gateway. The bad thing about this, the way I see it, okay, you can defend against this push, right? That's kind of fine, you can defend it. But the problem I have with this is that you don't have any detection. There's still no observatory, so how are you going to push across the map? I mean, even if you actually kill most of this army, that one vulture with one mine can kind of make it difficult to get out of your base. Like, maybe not get out of your base, but actually be aggressive? Not really. Although it might not actually come to that. I mean, 3 dragoons is definitely not enough to deal with this. And with this contain, once the reaver is scouted, oh, I don't actually like pushing down here. I mean, you're pushing down and expanding at the same time into a Protoss that doesn't have an expansion? Alright, so a Dragoon is going to be loaded. Not the best thing, since the Dragoon actually is not like a Zealot. It actually doesn't help as much. So we do see a Reaver and a Dragoon. And an Observatory is done, so the Observer is going to be next. And it seems like it's going to try to fly to actually do some damage. Now, the bad thing about this, you have a Dragoon and a Reaver. So they're 2 mineral lines. So relatively easy to evacuate. And we do see that Cryoc is already coming back with his army, at the same time leaving a small mine containment to just deny the expansion for a few seconds. I mean, remag really needs to do some damage with this Reaver, otherwise he's going to be severely behind in this game, I think. Even if he takes 2 bases right now. Okay, there is the drop, there's the Reaver, it's already taking some shots. Okay, that's a decent shot. 3 Marines and maybe 2 or 3 SCVs. Oh, there's a mine there. The Marines are going to start shooting at the shuttle. This is a heavy commitment. It's going to be very, very difficult to get out of here now. Okay, we do see 2 siege tanks. Oh. Ooh. Okay, that could have gone a lot worse. Now, this shuttle... Oh my god. Yeah. Very interesting turret placement by Cryoc. Unfortunately, remag does get kind of caught in that. So we do see the double expansion. This is kind of funny because you just lost the Reaver. So your entire pressure is gone. And at that point, you're taking the double expansion. Usually, when you do this kind of stuff, I would assume that you want to keep the Reaver maybe flying around, even if you're not actually doing damage, to keep the army at bay. But right now, because that Reaver actually died, and because you're actually going for a double expansion, the amount of units that you're going to have is going to be really, really, really small. It's just, there is 7 Dragoons in total and 2 Zealots. And although just the small force will probably not be able to deal with this efficiently, there's no speed for the Zealots. The Dragoons themselves aren't that good. We do see DTs? Well, there is Templar tech, just no DTs yet. Oh, are we going to see the panic DTs? And we don't have any comsat yet, so the DTs can definitely do something, but they're gonna take some time to build, right? It's not even building the DTs yet. So, oof, that's actually gonna allow the turrets to come down. And if Cryoc keeps reinforcing this push until speed is done for the Zealots, which is just starting right now, it's going to be actually extremely difficult to break this. Like, you would have to catch the Terran in a really awkward position to really get something good out of this. I think this might be a very short game. Okay, so the Nexus, I guess it was cancelled. Since, well, we didn't see anything attacking it, so it had to be cancelled. So at this point, it's a 2 base versus 2 base. The Terran is actually kind of the same supply, so it's always bad. And we do see some Zealot bombs and an Observer trying to be cheeky and block the turret, but unfortunately that's not going to work. Okay, so first Zealot bombs coming down. The tanks, are they going to aim? So the tanks actually not aiming the best way. Still 3 tanks. Oh, and some vultures coming out. These vultures, if they lay mines right now, they should really be moving fast. Okay, there we go. That's a good mine. Yep, that's a good mine. And that's it for the dragoons. And now the vultures, if they have speed, they should really be running past this and starting to lay mines somewhere else. They're not going to do that, but I mean, in a way, Cryoc is still doing much more damage than probably he expected to do. So at this point, as long as he keeps reinforcing this, there's probably no way to stop this. The DTs should be coming up. I still don't see them. Like, why would you get the tech and not get just a few DTs? You don't really need to get like a lot of them, just 1 or 2. It would be a lot better. Oh. Ah. I mean, Cryoc is actually losing some units here that he probably shouldn't be losing, but even in that case, 2 base versus 2 base, kind of no reason not to. Where, let's see, 3rd is gonna come down. There's some mines laid down at the 3rd of the Protoss. And a 6th fac with a 3rd base. We're also already getting the comsats, so although the Arbiter tech is still powerful even when you have detection, it might be difficult. It might be difficult still to kind of hold a 6th fac. It's still more than the amount of gateways, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 6 facs against 5 gateways, and at the same time, we do see that some small damage is still going to be done by a vulture or 2. So definitely Cryoc is getting the best kind of this game. He's getting not only the better economy, he's also getting more units. So kind of, yeah, I don't see this going well for remag at all. Like, maybe he gets a really 6 stasis, maybe he can kind of, I don't know, drag some mines. But so far, not looking good for him at all. Not looking good. Also, he did make a Reaver and another shuttle, but it's a slow shuttle and it's getting the speed. No. So, I mean, at this point the shuttle starts to become weaker and weaker. Okay, we do see a move out now, so these dragoons are going to start like cleaning mines, and the 3rd is being taken, so it might get into a bit longer game, but Cryoc is still getting, so far, the better end of all of these situations. He's getting the better economy. I would assume that he's also making an armory already. Yeah, there it is, the +1. So, the upgrades... I mean, Cryoc is not really using the vultures too much. Like, he's not harassing with them or anything. And we do see that now a Reaver will begin to do some damage. Oh, that's crap. Nope. And the Reaver does take a little bit of damage. But so far, okay, doing something with it. It's kind of, you still gotta be careful. A vulture is not really that important for the turn at this point, whereas your Reaver is actually quite of a big deal. You don't want to lose it, so I mean, remag is kind of managing to get a little bit back into this game. Just a few minutes ago, we did have an even supply. At this point, he's actually about 10 supply up. So maybe maybe in the macro department, he can kind of come back to this, but he still is on 5 gateways. So you do need not only more gateways, but also another base, and that's where it's actually going to begin to be a bit problematic, because securing another base might be quite tricky. Okay, so we do see another drop with the Reaver. Another 2 Zealots are going to be coming up. Definitely can do something. Now let's see about the 3rd is now really well protected. Turrets, we got some mines coming down. No more factories so far, and another, okay, we do see another armory and the starport coming up. So yeah, it does seem like Cryoc is not going to be aggressive. He's going to be waiting to get a big army and just push with a very strong attack. Now, remag might find a spot to do some damage. Oh, okay. Alright, now I think the tank did get a shot on the Reaver. Yeah, the Reaver is again on without a shield, so again it has to fly back. And yeah, no science facility yet. It's interesting because on 3 bases I think you can actually afford up to 9 factories. or 6 factories and additional tech, which is right now what Cryoc is going for. He has the +1 attack, he should be starting the armor. But apart from that, I mean, the thing is, the army supply should really be ahead in Remag's favor at this point. Really should be in his favor, and because of the late 4th... Okay, there are the other gateways, and a Stargate, another Stargate. Interestingly enough, the Arbiter tech was done for a very long time, but only now I think we see... Okay, there are 2 Arbiters already, so a possible recall could be coming up, but the question is, where do you do the recall? There is a very, very, very strong anti-recall defense through the entire line of the Terran, so getting in for a recall is going to be difficult. Trying to get in and do something like a good recall in here is going to be quite tricky. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I see that Remag is floating a lot of minerals, but to be fair, at this point, floating minerals is common unless you're putting up some more gateways. So it's not the weirdest thing in the world. Now, Remag is actually starting to kind of like crazy expand. Like, I think even Zergs don't expand this aggressive against, say, against the Terran that is going for a total mode. But the good thing about this is, by the time that the Terran pushes out, the economy from all of these bases should probably kick in. And if you have enough gateways already, you could actually be able to reinforce fast enough. The only thing that I think that Remag is not taking into account yet is the upgrades. Once 2-1 is finished, Cryoc's push is going to be dangerous whenever you have Arbiters or not. So at this point it's going to be difficult either way. Now we do see that Vultures are going to be trying to hunt down some of these probes. They're going to get some of them, and usually that's always good for the Terran, especially in this kind of situation where the Protoss is actually trying to get ahead economically until the push comes out. But because of losing that many probes, actually just the probe rebuilding from all of these bases is most likely going to sting a lot. Now we have Arbiters, sorry, carriers coming down, and usually I'd say that's cool, but on a map this open, with good upgrades for the Terran forces, and I think, let's see, where are the Arbiters? Okay, here's the Arbiters. They don't have any upgrades yet, so the Terran army should be able to have a lead on the upgrades for a while, and carriers with bad upgrades are really bad. Usually the way you transition into carriers is you start the upgrades early on, so that when the first carrier pops up, they have at least +1, usually +2. Now we do see, even if you look at the army supplies, Cryoc is actually ahead, and half of that army, well, not half of it, but some part of it is actually in carriers that are building here, and they don't have anything yet, so they can't attack. So the actual ground army of the Terran, of the Protoss, is actually really small. We also have to look at the fact that there is a vessel already, so if you kill the observers fast enough, the Arbiters aren't really sure where they should be attacking, or where the stasis is the best. So if you can actually see the Arbiters early on, you can EMP some of them, and that makes it very, very difficult to actually have any useful thing to do with the Arbiters. Now, the cloak is still good. You can still get a stasis or two. So the army from Remag is actually pretty good, but ooh, that's not gonna get in, right? I don't think it's gonna get in. Oh. Oh. Oh man. Oh, look at that. Yep. And at this point, Cryoc is like, well, that's my cue to completely kill you. That's that kind of an recall, that kind of an army loss, then a few other units even stranding away. I mean, Cryoc should just end siege, push forward, and just only scan to make sure that he can EMP Arbiters. Whoa, another recall? And the natural. Okay, this one is going to do something. And a good storm will kill a good amount of SCVs. but this amount of army is actually, like, this is a decent army that is right now stranded in here. It's going to have a lot of problems to do anything to kill. At the same time, the Terran army is going to be hammering down here. 4 carriers are going to do something, but if you split your army as the Terran and you start sending units everywhere, you can kill a good amount of economy and a good amount of infrastructure before these carriers are able to clean this up. We do have the +1 and the +1 for the mech, so the mech is going to be relatively strong against this. Oh, and a Zealot bomb here. Ooh, ouch. That actually hurts quite a lot. So, it's going to be 2 Nexuses, but I think these tanks should be going home. I don't think they should be staying here. There's no reason to start losing these tanks like that. I don't agree with this. You're killing a base where a Protoss has 3 more, although most likely you don't know about that, but... Oh, that Vulture, is it gonna kill the Nexus? It might. No, it won't. But... 1 HP Nexus, okay. Okay, so it's not gonna kill it. But after the fight, Cryoc is still ahead in supply, even though he lost a good amount of SCVs, which means that his army is actually going to be relatively strong. And at the same time, he just needs to make a few Goliaths and push again, and he should be able to win the game. Now, remag does have a good economy, so if he's able to keep producing from all of his gateways, which he's currently not, that should be actually enough to stop this attack, but... Okay, that DT plus the carriers, yeah, the tanks. Not a good idea to do something like that. Actually, Cryoc is now giving away units for free, and that's not what you want to do, especially because when carriers are out in a decent amount of number, they do become relatively problematic for the Terran. So, okay, this DT is actually doing way more damage than it should. Okay, there it goes. And now if these 2 bases fall, which they don't even have that good of a saturation, and this one neither. I mean, the saturation for the probes is actually quite terrible of the new bases. At the same time, that 1 HP Nexus did die, and another one here that died is now again going to be cancelled. I think. Should be. With good aim, you probably could have cancelled it. Okay, these Goliaths... Ooh, good storm. If they don't have range, that's problematic. Yeah, that's problematic. You do need to start moving these tanks, dude. You should be reinforcing this with Goliaths and just keep pushing down with the tanks, right? Just keep attacking with the tanks and keep killing Nexuses, while at the same time the Goliaths are kind of fighting against these carriers. But the carrier numbers is actually getting quite out of hand, and very soon, I mean, 8 carriers is enough already to be a problem. And with, oh, a good storm. And there's actually a cannon in a weird position, but it's actually doing something. Now, sieging up this and trying to kill the Nexus would probably be the smartest way to go around this. But yeah, it's not close enough. So a few things might fall down here. Unfortunately, with this small of a... Oh my god, a carrier probably gonna die. Yep, that's gonna die. No, it won't. Okay. Now that's weird. Oh, there it goes. So, right now, remag is... I mean, remag actually is kind of holding on because of how good these carriers are, but another carrier actually falls down to just 1 Goliath. This is really weird because Cryoc for a very long time had a huge supply lead. He could have just waited for a few Goliaths and started to push out and start to kill things. But because he went too early with the tanks, he lost some tanks first, then he lost some other units to the carriers, and right now he's still ahead. But he's not massively ahead, he's just barely like... I know that in the supply usually you would say that the Protoss has to be ahead in supply, but once the Protoss has carriers, you can actually micro them down relatively well to start sniping tanks, and then you would follow that up by killing the Goliaths with just Dragoons. So there's actually ways to come back to this even if you're actually behind. It's just that the way that I see it is right now, the time that it's going to take for the armies to get to any position is really what's going to matter. And we do see the probes already being evacuated from this base, which kind of makes sense, since this one barely has any probes. And this one actually is also really, really badly saturated. So the economy of... There's 30 probes overall, and I think some of them are not even mining, whereas we have... Actually, we'd only have 27 SCVs, so... The economies are kind of bad for both players, really. I mean, you'd expect both players to replace some of the economy and try to go into the stronger macro game, but both players so far are kind of having trouble with both their economy and their units. Ooh. Okay, so a vessel will fall. I mean, okay, there goes the scan. I would assume that this is the first moment that actually Cryoc realizes that there is a base down here. I mean, Cryoc can just kill this base, take it for himself, and then start pushing down whatever he wants, and at the same time kind of intercept some of the army that the Pros has. Where are the carriers? Okay, there's the carriers. There's 7 of them. 7 is a good number. It can do some damage. Now, with the CDT, oh, will it? Oh, okay, so the T does fall. There's going to be one storm. Whoa, and every single tank just falls. Ouch. That's not good. That's not the way you want to play it. Still, I mean, with storms and carriers, it's going to be quite difficult to actually break this position. I would say that you definitely don't want to be rushing this as like that, starting to lose Goliaths before the carriers actually arrive. Now they're actually starting to be problematic. Now the tanks should still be kind of able to do some damage. Oh, that's a good... Wow, that's some really good storms. Remag actually with that just pushed himself ahead. And Cryoc just GG's. Wow. I wouldn't say that was GG. I mean... Oh yeah, okay, when he loses this base, he just doesn't have any economy. Well, that was interesting. Cryoc I did think he had that.